Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If you're playing basketball, everybody's touching the ball. So I'm a non-medical person, but it seems to me to be somewhat ridiculous to say you must social distance because you're rubbing shoulders, yet your sweaty hands are on the ball and you pass it over to this other guy. So to me, there seems to be a huge gap of reason. If somebody can explain that, I'm all ears.
Jason again. I mean, yeah, that is true. I mean, and that played a part in it also, Clark, on why they were closed at the beginning. But I also look at it as, okay, so who's, two people are there shooting baskets. Is there a need for the basketball court to be closed because two people want to go shoot baskets? They make the decision to share a basketball. Shouldn't that be their decision? Should we be there policing that they're cleaning a basketball, or they're wearing gloves, or they're 6 feet apart? Don't we let them police themselves and make that decision? That's the way I.
Jason, you started this by saying you wanted council's input, and so
Yep.
Here is mine, and it is to take those restrictions off the ball court. If there's 12 kids up there playing or 14 kids up there playing, we can rely on our police department to go up and friendly say, listen guys, there's still a 10. But truthfully, I agree. Some of this stuff is a little bit invasive, what I consider to be over and above. And if my kid and 6 other kids are playing basketball, he understands the risk that he's taken with his buddies and his buddies' folks or whoever. So if I'm playing basketball and I contract the virus, first of all, you won't even know if you contracted it there or at the gas pump or, quite frankly, at church Sunday. So the bottom line is, I think we have taken this a bit far. I think we need to loosen that restriction. That was your question. That is my take.
Thank you, Clark.
Are the restrooms open now in the parks?
No.
But you can't get 10 people in any of those restrooms.
That is a matter of, we need to, if we're going to, just like there's the businesses that are reopening now, retail or library, well, they're not open yet, but they would be allowed to on a limited basis. There is some guidelines to those businesses that open. I mean, you have to increase your sanitizing of stuff. Okay, you have to do extra things. The issue with the whole restrooms, it kind of in coordination with playground equipment being shut down, along with the state and the DNR closing down state parks. They closed all their buildings because there is no way to ensure, as a city, we can't ensure that those things are getting sanitized in a proper manner. So we closed them. No different than, like I said, the DNR in their state parks. You can still go enjoy those things. You're not going to use the restrooms. You're not going to use shower facilities.
So they're never going to be able to use any of that stuff ever, is what you're just saying.
Well, as soon as somebody
Because
says,
there's
you know
no-
what, hey,
there's-
you know what, the coronavirus
There's no
disappeared.
way that we can do the sanitizing ever on the playgrounds to those accordance rules, and we're gonna build a new playground this summer. And then we're not gonna let anybody use it? Not while I'm sitting here.
This is Mike Murphy. Rex, the difference at this point is that there's still a state proclamation that says playgrounds are off limits. That has not been lifted.
Skate parks are in the playgrounds, or
Correct.
skate parks are
Correct.
in fitness facilities, or skate parks are in basketball courts? Tell me where they're at.
Basketball courts, a court is not a playground.
Well,
Playground
maybe there is a
equipment
skate
that you're
park.
touching.
It's listed actually in the front,
Skate
it's a
parks are
skate park.
specifically listed as well.
Yeah.
That's why those are closed right now, because the state has them closed.
So, I mean, that's the, yeah, so true, it's a true statement. I mean, if you're gonna use a public restroom, you better have it in your mind that it may not be the most cleanly place to be. In any environment, you know, so you should have that thought in your mind already, that, you know, I am taking some sort of risk to use it on a normal
Let me just say something that, from the get-go, and that is on April 7th, when Governor Reynolds put out the proclamation for the state of Iowa on what we're doing, what we gotta abide by. That day, the city has abided by the rules of that proclamation on a daily basis and a follow-through basis, to my knowledge, for everybody in our town. And I wanna share something with you. I really respect you people and you residents that live here, because it's been a learning curve for everybody. From the standpoint of 6 feet, 10 people, how far you go, how many times you wash your hands and everything else. And it's been a learning curve and learning situation. Today, they're starting to open up the economy, which needs to be done. And I really think that through that learning curve, when restaurants open, they're abiding by the rules of 50% of their operation. I don't know how, but they are. Cleanliness, case example, Ice Cream Parlor just opened last day or day before yesterday, and they've got people on a sanitizing basis there. I just use that as an example. But people have been really trained, I think, real well. The question is we're trying to sit here as a city, whether we should do this or answer the questions between that and this. And my only thing is that for the people that want to go to a restaurant and they feel safe in going, they're going to go. The ones that don't feel safe, they're not going to go. They've been trained that way. It's up to them whether they want to do it or not. And so by in everything that we're talking about here, I really think that things are moving ahead as slow, but if as things open up, it's going to be up to the people that has been trained to do so.
I mean, so I want, yes, Clark and every other councilman, I want to entertain your input. I mean, because yes, right now I'm asking or informing you, basketball courts are going to be open again. If we want to extend it to our public restrooms, we could. I don't, you know, I didn't come here today thinking we were going to open restrooms, but
I think the restroom on the golf course is open,
yeah.
There's one.
in the middle of the course, which is a public restroom,
It's
right?
been closed.
I thought it was open last weekend.
Just the one in the clubhouse.
One in the
Yeah,
clubhouse.
well, the
is
clubhouse is open, and that's because it's associated with Brian's retail business, and so
Right.
he can have that open.
And
That's
the
his
one that
business.
they're selling the drinks out of in the middle of the course does not have the restroom yet.
Not to my
No,
knowledge.
it's closed, it's locked.
Well, I know I've had personal requests saying, okay, you've got a problem. You're making, people are walking around the golf course and or playing golf, and we can't know where to go.
You're right. It is a
So
problem.
they're making places to go out there, which is not probably what we wanted to do. So
Jason,
if there's
let me
not
ask
a
you-
rule that says we gotta close them, I'm in favor of opening them. I think we should put silly signs on the door that says, you know, it's all subject to you guys, because we're not gonna staff and clean it every 15 minutes. We're not gonna do that.
Let me ask you a question also, Jason. If we decided tomorrow, or if we're gonna, say Monday, we're gonna open up the city hall, does that relax for everything in the city to be open, including restrooms?
I have not got there yet.
Okay.
That'll be another
We got a
discussion.
golf tournament this weekend, and it'd be nice to have.
Yeah.
that-
I mean, so I don't believe,
Open.
I do not believe, and anybody else can chime in, I don't believe the state specifically came out and said, you have to close public restrooms. You know, so if we think it's a smart idea, now I understand the golf course thing.
I think it's a smart idea, I think the one here, I think the one in O2, I think you can open them.
I do too.
And let the, again, as Dick said, as we've said, 60 days we've been training, 24/7, 18,000 news channels, been trained. They know what the risks are. We still remind them of the risk with a sign on the door that says, we are not going to clean this every 15 minutes or after every person. And I think I think the citizens would love it, especially with the holiday weekend coming up.
I'm sure if you're right.
And Rex, going back, the people that want to be involved, fine. They
It's
can go.
exactly right.
The ones that don't, they don't have to
It goes
do
back
it.
to the 60 days.
Let
If
them
you
make the
listen to
decision.
it,
We're
you can-
we're sitting there
decide.
trying to make the decisions for people.
I don't want to make the decision for people no more, if I can.
Anything else?
I frankly don't want to kick them off the skate park. But I understand that I probably can't do that, because I'm not high enough up the swimming pool.
Well, there's at least just hopes for opening them up.
It would be a good thing to open up the ones we can.
Okay, so, all right.
I think from a legal perspective, I think that the city, if they're gonna open up their bathrooms, needs to at least make an effort to have enhanced cleaning from what you've done in the past.
Yeah,
There you
I think
go.
that's the prudent decision.
Yep. And we've done a pretty good job
Yeah.
with this. Does that answer your question, Jason?
Yeah, so I guess, okay, so I'm going to say this. Basketball courts, I don't know the time frame. I don't know if it'll happen today.
9 minutes, 1:30.
They will be open,
Okay,
okay? Public restrooms will be open,
okay.
okay?
Hey, Jason, can
Yes.
I interject a second?
Yep,
I would encourage, I get everything that Rex was saying, and I can go along with that. However, along with City Hall, basketball courts, not included in this, I encourage us to wait until June 1st. And my only reason is I want to err on the side of caution, and it is strictly because of our proximity to Woodbury County. And so if you want to open restrooms, city halls to the public, blah, 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 I'm all for it June 1st. Before that, I'm opposed to it, but I'm only one opinion. So I would like to see us wait until June 1st, not with the basketball courts, but everything else, okay?
I think you're gonna lose a vote on that, Clark. I think it's 4-1 right now.
well, let me clear that up. Yeah, I'm only suggesting so far. I'm not talking opening our front doors here at City Hall this afternoon or tomorrow morning. That, I'm still thinking that will be June 1st. Okay, so I agree in that aspect, Clark. City Hall and our other public department buildings would be June 1st.
But let's go back to the restrooms. Is it okay to open the restrooms?
I'm completely comfortable with opening the public restrooms. Now we have,
Mayor,
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
the fire chief.
Yes,
Can I
yeah,
interject real quick here?
yeah, you bet, Dave.
Okay, I think you're going to see next week, on the 27th, she is going, the governor that is going to allow more things to be opened up. You know, as a city, we could always do more stringent things all along than what the governor
professionals, your first responders, as far as fire, EMS, and police, have appreciated that because we haven't been overwhelmed here in Lamar or Plymouth County so far with COVID issues. I know in the proclamation it said we could not open bathhouses, but I think we need to make sure what her definition of a bathhouse is. I think it fell in the swimming pool part, that it meant the locker rooms of the swimming pools and not necessarily public bathrooms or restrooms. But that is in the Code of Iowa 135 of what they are exactly, and I have not researched that. So I think we want to make sure that that isn't one of the things, and if it's not, I see no problem with opening the bathrooms. I don't have a problem with the outdoor basketball courts at this point. You know, the outdoor things I feel are better than indoor things as far as airflow for the virus and things like that. But I want to personally thank the council, Jason, and the citizens for really doing their best to follow the rules for the most part. You always have a few that don't, but it has kept us all safe, including the people that are working 24/7 to take care of people who have the issue or come down with the disease or virus, I should say. So thanks to everybody for that. I think we're coming out of this and turning the corner. I think next week you'll see more things be allowed to be open. So I concur with Jason and Clark as far as the June 1st date. I think you might see next week by the 27th that you could go back to using playgrounds and you could go back to using some of these other things that are still locked down, so to speak, so are not allowed to be used. So it's just my 2 cents. I want to thank everybody for participating, and we'll support whatever the council and the administration decide. But I do concur with the June 1st date for city facilities. And I think we need to research the bathhouse definition in the proclamation to make sure we're okay on the restrooms. And if so, open them up.
Any other questions for anybody? Did you get your answer yet, Jason?
What were we talking about?
You started it.
I know.
You want to, you want to?
Sorry, Jason, I wanted to get my thank yous in there.
No, thank you.
Where do we go from here?
I don't think anybody on the.
I think we're on the bathroom thing, Jason, and as long as that bathhouse definition doesn't show bathrooms, public restrooms, I think you'd be good opening them.
Yeah, I would intend, now, our only variation from what we have as a public restroom right here out our back door, and O'Toole and West Floyd Park is another restroom. Foster, Cleveland,
One up by John Deere.
yeah. So we have a number of restrooms. The only different one, and then the intent would be not to open that one, gets to what Dave is talking about as what is a bathhouse. Okay, so our campground has a restroom / shower facility for the campers. That, I believe, that has been closed, even though the campground has been allowed by the state to open up to a 50%, or not 50%, open up to making sure that you social distance, okay? We've kept the restroom shower facility closed. I would have no intent, I guess, as of the asking here and the conversation today, to reopen that. The requirement to use that campground within the last couple weeks has been that you have a self-contained camper. So you have the ability to take a shower in your camper if you want. That's how it's been treated up there. So I wouldn't intend to open that shower facility with this, so.
For purposes of discussion, Iowa Code Chapter 135 does define swimming pools. And in the definition of swimming pools, it says, or associated bathhouse, meaning connected to a swimming pool. Now, for my 100% legal opinion, I'd like to go back and look at the proclamation, but my belief is that the proclamation shutting down swimming pools and bathhouses is simply referring to this code section, and it has nothing to do with a public restroom.
Thank you, Mike.
I would concur with that. I just read the proclamation, Mike, and I agree that it's just attached to the swimming pool,
Okay,
not the public restrooms in general.
you want, you guys want to vote on this, or you want to?
I want him to make get the Falcon off the basketball court and open the.
Move on, yeah. Okay, does that answer your question, Jason?
Yes, and just to put a nail in that one. Put a nail in it. Greg did look up, what did you say?
The rest area.
Restrooms are back open.
For the state?
Yeah.
Yep, along the interstate travel,
Okay, all right.
rest stops, facilities are open.
Are the restrooms open as well?
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
So,
Okay,
okay,
anything else?
I think it's about enough.
Yeah. Give us an opportunity to unload the whole load.
Anybody that takes a shower in those restrooms, they don't need a breathalyzer.
Okay, moving on to the, does anybody else have anything in regard to this? Yeah.
Jacob.
No, I'm gonna get to him, just a minute. Yeah, the next one is, city finance director, and, since the, virus thing has come abroad the last 8 or 9, 10 weeks, needless to say, it makes you think of, how's it gonna affect our city?